Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. It's me, Antonio, back with another video this evening for you guys. We are on the road today, cranking out some content for you folks, so but yeah, we're getting ready to relax for the evening, take a shower, detox, relax, all that good stuff. Got my tea on the boil. So I found my notes. I made a video earlier about prejudice and labels and titles and racism and things like that, because people are still going through racism and the color of the skin and things like that. I mean, it stems from a lot of prejudice and things like that. You have to look into the root word of these things sometimes and see where they come from or how they manifest it. So anytime you have a thought about a word, or just like how we used to do in school, they gave us definitions, at least in my elementary class. They gave us 10-20 definitions a day that we had to look up. So anytime you think or you have a thought or second guess about a word, you definitely want to look it up. And like I said, suffixes, prefixes, root words, all that stuff matters. You got to look into it and see how it affects you and how you interpret it. And of course, everything is perspective. There's truth and there's opinionated truth as well. But yeah, so I looked at my notes. So notes on racism. So of course, people are going to have to understand that we look into the past. Racism was a big thing. We had, before we even had slavery in America, overseas they had indentured servitude. Of course, everyone knows about indentured servitude, colonialism, things like that. They say Christopher Columbus, even though Crispus Attucks came before him. I actually went to Attucks Middle School, so I learned about these things. Explored the East Coast of America and all these things like that. And the Jim Crow after slavery and the Willie Lynch letters and all that stuff. So there's a whole history behind racism. Of course, it was started by the church. People don't even realize racism was started by the church. And then you have the present. There's been a lot of things that's been going on in the present. We've had our first black president less than 8 years ago. We've had Donald Trump for 4 years, but before that, we had Barack Obama. People have to realize we're in a new day. There's kids right now that's 8 years old, or even 5 years old. The only thing they knew was a black president. These preteens, the only thing they knew was a black president for 8 years. So they didn't grow up with any white presidents, anything like that. In fact, the only reason, or one of the big reasons, there's many reasons we have a black president, but you got to understand these kids, we all grow up in this country together. We're influenced by each other. Black people eat tacos and spaghetti. White folks eat fried chicken and watermelon. The kids, the children, they all grow up listening to or be influenced by the same thing, whether it's art, music, sports, or what have you. These white kids, they, in the 70s and 80s, they went home with these loud soundtracks, whether it was rock or rap. And their parents were angry, whether it was rock or rap. Hey, turn that racket down. I don't want to hear that. Timmy, turn it off, Timmy. So these kids, although they listened to this music and blasted this music and they loved it, and their parents that probably hated it, they had no choice but to listen to it too, because their kids were blasting it. So this planted a seed. This bridged a small gap between white kids and their white parents and understanding the black culture, rap music, and all that stuff. So there's a whole tanning of America at this point. There's so many interracial relationships. There's people in this country that's getting with people that's outside of this country. So many interracial relationships. So there's a tanning of America that people have to be aware of in the present. They have to be aware of in the present. It's just voting and the old wisdom and the old racism of all the old men that's still alive. You have people that's getting 4 or 5 heart transplants just to stay alive and teach their old racist ways and stuff like that. Prejudiced ways and things like that. We got to look forward to the future. We have the past. We have the present that's going now, which we need to be mindful and aware of. But you also have the future as well. People got to understand this is not just your world. This is your children's world as well. This is your grandchildren's world. This is your descendants' world. So if you make this world a bad place for your children. You're a horrible person at the end of the day. You know, I don't have to, you know, start name calling people or, you know, being negative on this video. But if you are just being a negative person all around and you're teaching people to do bad and horrible things to other people, or to, you know, have babies, you know, you're training babies before they even walk to have certain outlooks and certain perceptions on different cultures, that's not good. You need to be teaching them something else positive. You know, racism is always going to be there. I feel like it's always going to be there. If it's not going to be there, there's probably going to always be some type of prejudice. People are always going to have certain outlooks on certain cultures and things like that. People have to keep more of an open mind when it comes to the future. You know, look deeper into, you know, like I said on that last video, look deeper into the science of racism and racist. You know, you can't judge people off of, you know, certain labels and certain titles and certain trigger words. If somebody's a racist, you know, they're just probably, you know, they don't realize it, but they just love their race. That's just like people, they don't realize they love certain footballs or sport teams just because they live in that city. But you always have that one person, or those people that's the oddball out, or that can think for themselves, that just love whatever team they want to love. But why love a team? Love yourself. But that's all I wanted to talk to you guys today. I didn't want to keep talking about racism and, you know, blackness and all these negative stereotypes and prejudice on this channel. But I have to remember that there's new kids that's growing up every day that don't even know about these things. And we have to make sure that we steer the narrative. You know, there's light workers in this world. There's healers. There's wayfinders. You know, we need to gravitate to these people that's actually showing us the white ray. The light. But, you know, light can come from darkness as well. So just dot your I's and cross your T's. Stay healthy. Know yourself. And research. Be safe.